hilarious. They didn't think it was that funny. I don't think they really spent much time in there anyways. Who knows? So, for the next 3 days, I live it up. I had a great time. You know, I was having a blast. Even though I wasn't 21, still had a great time. Went to see a show called Beatles Love. That was awesome. Went on a roller coaster at 1 a.m. Terrible roller coaster. Would never recommend doing it again. But it was still really cool to say you went on a roller coaster at 1 a.m. in Las Vegas. You know, I wish I could tell you more that happened in Las Vegas. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. My family packed up our bags, and off we went to a place called Zion National Park. This place is beautiful. Mountains everywhere. As we get there, we see a thing called Angel's Landing. It turns out to be this trail. So we investigate a little more, and we go to the trail. We see a sign that says, 7 people have died in the past 10 years. And I was like, I gotta do this thing. So, my mom and dad weren't that excited about it for me to go, because they said I'm gonna die, but I didn't. So, when you're going up the trail, you have to hike up another 1.5 mile long trail before you get there. So you're already worn out before you get on the actual Angel's Landing thing. And my brother and I were the first ones to go up, mainly because we weren't scared to do it. So we start going up. And as we're going up, at least 3 or 4 people come down. One of whom is grabbing this chain. You have to hold onto a chain or else you fall off the cliff. You have to grab this chain so tight that I thought he was going to break it, so I was kind of scared. And then, I honestly don't think he ever got back down because he was going about 2 miles per hour. This other kid was crying coming down. That was a great sign. I thought it was hilarious. I ended up laughing in his face. I don't really think that really helped matters at all, but it was still hilarious. So we get to the top, and my brother Ryan and I are up there, and I'm like, this is awesome. Whoa, this is awesome. Kind of like that. But you look out, you see anything. And I saw my cabin I was staying in. I thought that was cool. But then off in the distance, there are rain clouds. I'm like, that can't be good. We're going to die up here. Ryan's like, no, Sean, we got to stay. We got to take pictures. Mom and Dad might not even see what we saw. I was like, fine, I'll stay for a second. Then all of a sudden, somebody falls off the cliff. I'm like, holy crap, Ryan, somebody just died over there. I'm just kidding. No one fell off the cliff. It was still extremely scary up there. We ended up going back down. My family ended up passing me on the way up. That kind of made me a little happy inside, knowing my mom and dad and my other brother weren't a bunch of wusses. So we get back down. I'm happy to be alive, because you honestly have to hold on to this chain as tight as you can and maneuver your body in ways that I don't want to maneuver my body. And part of this trail is about yay wide. And if you step to your right, you're dead. And if you step to your left, you're probably dead too. But I got down, and everything was all right. It was really cool. I'm glad I did. So off we go to a bunch of different places after that. We went to a place called Bryce Canyon, where we rode horses. I actually had to ride a donkey. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm the youngest, but still, it was still pretty cool though. And then we go to a place called the Grand Canyon, where I'm sure you all have heard of, hopefully you have. It was really cool. Both these places are spectacular. Seeing Bryce Canyon on horseback was donkey back. It was a really special thing. And then the sheer size of the Grand Canyon is just a joke. Seriously, I've never seen anything like it. After both these places, we make our way to a place called Sedona, Arizona. It was a nice little town where we went rock climbing and jumping off the rocks that we climbed into water. And so, on these rock climbing, you had to climb up ever so carefully. I mean, you almost slipped off every time you try to put your hand on something. And these locals are doing it in front of you. It's the easiest thing in the world. It's the most annoying thing in the world to see that. And somebody did a backflip off of it, kind of laughed at me, but whatever. So, after rock climbing, we went jeeping. Not really sure if that's a word, but it was really fun. We went up a big hill and back down a big hill, and you thought that you were going to fall over in the Jeep, which made it even more dangerous and, deadly. Everything we do on this trip is deadly, which is awesome. And so that was really cool. The entire time of this trip, I'm snoring uncontrollably. I don't really know why. I usually don't snore that much, but I ended up getting the crap beat out of me. My brothers and my parents while I'm asleep. And I ended up coming away with a bunch of bruises and scars and stuff from it. Pretty sure what they did was illegal, but I didn't press any charges, so that's all right. After Sedona, I realized it's time to go home. My parents realized it's time to go home. My brothers realized it's time to go home. And we had it planned out that way, so we had to go home. realized I want to live up a couple more nights, do what I do, you know. My mom convinces me I'm ready to go home. On this plane ride, this plane was actually bearable. I could actually think about what happened in the past 2 weeks. Not saying I was like drunk the entire time, but like I could actually soak it in. You know? And so I realized that it's these stories I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And now looking back on it, I realize it's the time I spent with my family, whether it be on a 2-week trip across the country or just down the road for a soccer game, that really helped shape who I've become as a person. Oh, the day I got back, I was diagnosed with mononucleosis. So the entire time on the trip, I had mono. Didn't even know it. Hence the snort.
And here we stand, after 4 years of being a family, finally loving one another. And as this comes to an end, we join together. Fearful our journey might end in defeat, the road seems to move more jagged, not fluid, as when we first crossed its flowing path. Our feet in the sand, and all we want to do is retreat. We have all stepped up to the stream and heard the current of voices rushing through our heads that make our legs give up his dreams for the sake of our screams. He couldn't have met me, we find ourselves saying. I'm too weak, too ignorant, too meek, too indifferent. I'm too sinful, too lost, too simple. For this cause, I'm a lawbreaker, a God traitor. I'm not fit to do this noble labor. And God looks down on us, wild excuse makers, and says, no, you may not be great, but I in you is something greater. And we start to remember our call, which we received, that dream inside our depths with which we are enthralled, and how for such a purpose God has withdrawn us. Now, here we stand, God's mighty cloak in our hand, his power our fortune to test whether his calling is certain. The road seems to be coming to an end. To test whether our call is certain. Our purpose lies on the opposite shore. Your doubts may be binding, but he will be your vindicator. The torrent may be rushing, but he will be your savior. Your call may be great, but what shall accomplish it is far greater. So take up the cloak, and with all the might you can squander, lay down everything and strike the water. God himself will be your partner as you march on to do what you were born to do. So for all you sick of playing it safe, getting by on good behavior, God is saying to you that he has something greater. For all you dreamers, delusioned to be a world changer, God is saying to you that he has something greater. For all us Christians who want Christ but not the cross, just want him as our Savior, God is saying to us that he has something greater. He's saying, lay down your lives for the life of your neighbor. Give in to the demands of your enemies and of strangers. Be the world's lovers, though they may be your haters. Sacrifice your bodies, not just your behavior. Be the shattering of rods and the yoke's breaker. Be the ally's weakness, and be the traitor's savior. Be peacemakers, suffering savers, forgiveness curators, grace vindicators, true love translators. So we will burn the plows, strike the water. We will be the good life slayer. We will be a class unsatisfied with being great. But we will make ourselves nothing to make him something greater. But we will make ourselves nothing to make him something greater. Some people would question that. Why make God greater than yourself? Why not take all the credit? You accomplished something, so why not take all the credit for yourself? 2 years ago, if you had asked me what I believed in, I would have told you that the only thing I believed in was love. But during a tough time where I faced a lot of trials in my life, I decided to go to Southeast Christian Church. I didn't expect to get anything out of it, but when the music played, I felt myself and all my troubles were set free. Learning about God made me happy. His love, his forgiveness, the fact that he would never abandon me. When I was lonely, I had God. When I had no one, I had God. When I was sad, I had God. When I couldn't handle situations in my life, God did. When I began to know God, I was set free. I was finally happy. It's like having a best friend. You would give your life for them. You wouldn't mind yourself looking back so that they could look good. God makes me greater, a better person, a better daughter, a better friend. So I will make myself nothing so that he can be greater.
I'm going to have someone time me to 7 minutes, and I'm going to try to tell as many of these stories as I can. And it's a text message. Yeah. So, who wants, first of all, who needs the time? Okay, yes, I saw the young lady in the front. Okay, so 7 minutes, and I have them numbered so that you all can just shout out which one you want to hear in what order, so it just adds some spontaneity to the whole show. So does anyone have a preference? Three. neighborhood friends. And we would go to our friend Logan and Zach's house down the street, and we'd play out in the backyard and have fun until it was dinner time. And so one time when I was in kindergarten, which would make Logan in 2nd grade, Logan thought it was a very good idea to go into the shed and find something to play with. And the 2nd grader, Logan, came out wielding a golf club, which at the time I thought was a really good idea. Don't know why, but thinking back on it now, it might not have been the best idea. So he was getting ready to swing. He had a ball and a tee and everything, and he told everyone to scoot back. So I complied, and I just, got out of the way. And the next thing I know, I am on the ground. I hear screaming. I look up and I see my sister running towards me, bawling her eyes out, and asking me if I was okay. I didn't know what was wrong with her, and it turns out that I had been hit in the mouth with the golf club on its follow through, and I had lost a tooth. So my immediate reaction was like, gotta find this tooth. So I couldn't find the tooth, concluded that I swallowed it, and decided, maybe I should go talk to my mom. So my sister and I walked back home, and my mom hurriedly looked through the phone book to try to find an emergency dentist because it was a Sunday and our dentist wasn't open. And she came upon this guy named Dr. Nodder, who I think has since been shut down due to sketchy financial stuff. But at the time, he was fine. So after hours of sitting in a chair and having my mouth numbed and probed at, and sitting in a room that I can only describe as looking like an igloo, I was set free. But not without gauze shoved in my mouth. So, I had gauze in my mouth. And I asked my mom, Mom, can I take the gauze out of my mouth? And she said, yeah, but you might look kind of weird. So, pull the gauze out, look in the mirror, and realized that I was missing 6 teeth. 4 on top and 2 on the bottom. And I had this huge gaping hole in my mouth. The only visible teeth were my canines. And since I was in kindergarten, I lacked vanity. So all I thought was, yes, so many presents from the Tooth Fairy. And I got a lot. But what I learned from this was, when someone tells you to get out of the way, get the hell out of the way. Or you will be hitting up with the golf club. Thank you. Okay, who wants to hear another one? This one is called Milk Carton. Okay, so all my life I've lived in constant and irrational fear of being kidnapped because I had to go to those annual seminars with that white-haired lady. Yeah, give that boy a t-shirt. She was the worst. So I always thought that I was going to be kidnapped. And to add on to that, people have always told me that I have a milk carton face, which means that I look like someone you would see on the back of a milk carton. And that has just added to my feeling of inevitability of being kidnapped. So one day, I was walking with my friend Paige down the street. I was like, I don't know, like 8, and we were walking. And our parents were not far behind, but I guess they were far enough behind they didn't see this. And this dark green Jeep Grand Cherokee rolls up. And I was like, oh God, this is a kidnapping. That's all I thought at the time. I thought about that every car I saw. But this one slowed down, and the window rolled down, and a man with 5 o'clock shadow was behind the wheel, and he said, I lost my dog. Can you help me find it? It's like the oldest trick in the book. Yeah. But we got in his car anyway. No, I'm just kidding, we didn't. So, what happened was, she and we turned around and started walking towards our parents, and I was like, no sir, sorry, but I hope you find your dog. And we kept walking, he rolled away really mad. A couple minutes later, after we had continued in the original direction, we see him rolling up again, like he had circled the block waiting for our parents to go inside. This time I was like, this man's not fooling around. So all I did, I just started screaming at the top of my lungs to try to get my parents' attention, but not tell them what was happening. Started screaming, and the guy freaked out and drove away, thank God. So I didn't get kidnapped. And later when my parents asked me, like, Courtney, what was the deal? Why were you screaming? I was like, a bee flew by my ear, and I freaked out, and I started screaming. But everything's okay. And they believed it, so there you go, Mom and Dad. But what I learned from this little issue was that you should always listen to that white-haired lady, because she knows what she's talking about, and she might save your life. Okay, next up. Okay, this one is called Pizza Day. So at St. Raphael, where I went to school, Pizza Day was the best day of the month because all the food sucked, except for on Pizza Day when they got Papa John's. So one Pizza Day, my friend Paige from the prior story, we were in line, we got our pizza, and we sat down. It was a really good day. We were having fun, having lunch, and I got out of my table, which they got new tables that year, which were long with like stools. But they weren't freestanding stools, they had like bars connected to the bottom of the table. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And if you got out of them the wrong way, you would fall. So naturally, got up, went the wrong way, fell flat on my face in front of everyone. And when I sat up, my wrist was throbbing, and so I didn't know what was happening, and I went up to the fat lunch teacher, Miss Stacy, and I said, yeah, you know, and I said, I don't know what happened, and she was like, can you make a fist? And so I tried to make a fist, and I got about this far, and I was like, no, I can't make a fist. And she said, well, if you can make a fist, it's not broken. I think you're okay. And I was like, well, I didn't make a fist. I don't think I'm okay. Yeah, so I was like, whatever. She knows what she's talking about. Went out to recess, had a good time. Then my mom picked me up, took me to the doctor. Turns out I had a fracture. Now, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I got a cast, so that's all I wanted. And I got to school the next day wielding my hot pink cast, and with sparkles. And I talked to some eyewitnesses of the whole incident the other day, and they told me, Courtney, when you fell, you actually karate chopped the tray in half. You broke the tray, and I was like, no way! I've never exhibited that much strength before in my life. And so what I learned from this little issue was, if you really set your mind to something, you can achieve it. Even if that means breaking a lunch tray in half with your arm. And also, don't take medical advice from lunch ladies, because they'll probably steer you in the wrong direction. Yeah. Do we have time?
Yes, we have time.
We have time? Well, okay, last one. This one is called My Girl Andrew. So, when my family and I were on a trip when I was in, I don't know, like first or second grade, to Washington, D.C., and we were walking through the Capitol building when my father turns to my mother and goes, isn't that Angelina Jolie? And mind you, I'm very young. I don't know who Angelina Jolie is. My mom's like, yeah, that is Angelina Jolie. My sister and I are like, well, who's Angelina Jolie? They're like, she's a movie star. And she wasn't on Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, so we didn't care. Right. But we ended up, I don't know why you always do this, but we went up and we talked to her. And we talked to her for like 5 minutes, and she said, to my mom, your daughters are so beautiful. Yeah. She didn't sound beautiful. And my dad likes to joke, I think she wanted to adopt you, but you were the wrong color. So I met this beauty, and what I learned from this...
Are you out of time?
I'm out of time, okay! I was really close to finishing. So, thank you, madam in the front. And so I actually have to tell you a secret.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. One of these stories is not true.
What?
Only 3 of them occurred in my childhood, and one of them I made up. Does anyone have an idea? Which one?
You didn't meet Angie.
I did meet Angelina Jolie, right, Mom and Dad? Yes, this one I did make up. I was never ever almost kidnapped, although I have lived in constant fear of it my whole life. And maybe you're wondering, like, why did you make up a story? Well, okay, first of all, if I had told you ahead of time that one of these was, or that one in particular was made up, would you have been as interested or like connected to it?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Okay. So what I've learned is that sometimes the most made up stories or the most outrageous stories are the ones from which we can learn the most, or the ones that evoke the most emotion within us. Like, did that affect you all in some sort of way?
Yes.
Did you feel a certain way? Yeah. Okay. So the most outrageous stories do that to us. And it's kind of like, I like to compare it to the Bible, how like in the Bible, those stories are made up. Sorry, Sarah Westoff. But they are in there to serve a greater purpose and to teach us a greater lesson. And a lot of people believe them wholeheartedly because they need something a little bit of that truth to hold on to. And so when I go to the theater or I listen to a story, I believe in like everything I see and hear, because I believe that every story, even if it's not factual, has a little bit of truth that pertains to your life. And I think that it is important to have this belief in stories, even if they're fictional, because if we didn't, then stories would have no purpose, and they would then become obsolete. And I think it's important for our sanity to have something that we can believe in, even if we know it's not made up. And what I just love about stories is that I don't know where the stories come from, or if they're true, or if they're factual, but I do know that they are true. And that's why I'm a storyteller.
Oh, hey there, gang. I was just reading my book. Hey, you know, that reminds me of a story. I got a nice story to tell you guys. There was another day I was reading my book. Just flipping through the pages, getting kind of engrossed, you know, painting, and all of a sudden, ow! What? Oh, my glasses. Well, all of a sudden, it just stopped. It was apparent that I had a ghost in my house. So, I made a call to my former physics professor, Dr. Tweed, who happens to be an expert in the paranormal. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, connect me to Dr. Tweed, please. Yeah. Hey, it's Sam. Hey, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a ghost in my house. Yeah. Yeah, I dropped my glasses. Yeah, I bumped into the table. Yeah. Oh, you'll be right over? Oh, I just right back. Sorry. I'm right back. Oh, that was fast.
Hey man, what's going on?
What, Jeff? What are you doing here? I thought you were way out there. What are you doing here?
Oh man, I just wanted to see you again, you know? I mean, it's been too long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have to tell me that. Why are you? So, I meant to tidy the place up. Sorry, here, I'll grab you a drink and why don't you just, take a seat? Yeah. So, what exactly was the reason that you said again you, coming back around here? Don't mean to pry or anything, just a little curious.
Oh, hey, thanks. Well, to tell you the truth, I was actually hoping to, you know, like, crash at your place for a little while, you know? Like, you know, a few days, a few months, you know, however long it takes. I just need to get, like, a stable footing, you know, so I can, like, get going. And it turns out there's really not much of a career for somebody of my major.
And, what was your major again? Sorry, it slipped my mind. I don't know what it was.
Oh, it's lettuce. Yeah, I know all about lettuce, you know. YPAS to Slate lettuce, Romanian sanctum lettuce, chalk stem lettuce, let's see, heartroot lettuce, black lettuce. This chalk stem lettuce, this is really good in this stuff. I don't know why, it makes it taste smoky. That probably doesn't actually sound very good to you, but I like it. It's good. So yeah, at first I was like really bummed out that lettuce isn't a field. You know, I thought I'd be able to be like a restaurant consultant or a lettuce farmer or something, but no. So I was bummed because I wasn't going to be able to get settled, have a family, everything like that. But then I remembered
I didn't want to do that anyway. So I figured I'd just hit the road, you know. I called my dad and said, hey, I'm going to be a drifter. He goes, drifter? I hang up, then I drive off. I just keep driving for a few days, you know, had some good CDs, just listened to those, and slept in the car when I got tired. And then I started thinking about the amount of money I had left, so I was like, yeah, I better get a job. And I was at a rest stop somewhere in West Virginia, and I had got one of those little slip things, you know, and there was this one for Point Pleasant, which apparently has this, well, they was talking about this Mothman museum they had, and I was like, oh, you know, that's cool, Mothman museum. So I went down there, checked it out, see if they needed somebody to work for them. It turns out they didn't. That's fine, because the museum sucked. Like, I hate that museum. It was like, it was a gift shop. So, you know, I thought I'd get a job at a gas station instead. So I did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, I get a really late shift, really low wages, get this really shitty apartment with, like, dirty and all that jazz. And, like, I buy some good books, and I just prepare myself for endless nights of being surrounded by fluorescent light bulbs and chips. And so the first few guys who come in, I try to make conversation with them, you know, but they all just act like they want to shoot me. So then I start backing off, and I just spend a lot of time reading, you know. I read, you know, Hemingway, and, you know, other people who are good at books. I started realizing that I really had the makings of a philosopher. You know, I had all these big ideas, you know, they were like going to change the world. So, like, I just had to tell somebody, you know what I'm saying? I had to philosophize at somebody, I had to spew my knowledge on them. So, but I didn't know anybody. Like, I mean, I worked all night, I slept all day. So one time I found this homeless guy on the street, and I said, hey, homeless guy, hey, come in this diner, and I'll get you dinner, and I'll philosophize at you. So I got him dinner, and I was philosophizing at him, you know, I was saying all my big ideas and everything, but like, he didn't even humor me at all. He didn't even pay attention, you know? He was just sitting there going, oh, I don't even care, man. And I was like, you're not very nice. You're probably not even a homeless person. And then he goes, I hate you. And then he just runs away. And I never saw him again. You know, who needs him? You know what I'm saying? Took off again, just hit the road, and I drove until I was like in Michigan, and I was heading towards River Racing National Park. And I was like, all right, man, River Racing National Park, that's cool. But then I stopped on my way at this like isolated pizza shop called Roy's. And, you know, they have a bar, so I got a beer, and I started trying to drink it, and this guy comes up to me, and he starts talking about all this boring, dumb stuff. I don't even know, I wasn't paying attention, like it was dumb shit. And he was like talking about like finding gold or something like that, and I was like, okay man, whatever. And then I started like feeling kind of dizzy, you know, like his face was getting kind of blurry, and I didn't know what was up. So then I went to the bathroom, you know, I hobbled into the bathroom because I was dizzy. And then I collapsed onto my knees, and I just started puking in the toilet, and I kept puking. It was all coming out my mouth, and everything smelled like my puke. And it was overflowing in the toilet, so the whole floor was covered in puke. And then I just went out, you know, I just went flat. I just went out cold, you know what I'm saying? I was gone, I was out, it was black. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so when I woke up, shit's awful, man. When I woke up, I was like in the middle of the desert, you know, and there was this big concrete cube in front of me, and it was blue. It was painted pastel blue, and the paint was chipping off, and there were no doors or windows. And it was just, well, there was one door. There was one door at the very front, this red steel door. And on top, it had like these statues that looked like they were taken off of miniature golf courses. You know, there was a T-Rex, there was a shark, and there were some pirates, and some aliens, a spaceship. And I was like, man, I want to see what's in that building. So I started walking towards the building. And I reached for the doorknob, you know, because I wanted to open the door.
And then I just passed out again. So like, great, I didn't see what was in the building. I just passed out again. And then when I woke up, I was by the highway. So then I flagged the ride here, you know? Like, I just want to, yeah, just want to try to get a job or something. Is that cool if I crash with you?
Oh yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, stay however long you want. Stay the rest of your life. I don't care.
Oh man, you're the best. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I have a ghost in my house.
See you for some time. I am lost in my mind. I get lost in my mind. Mama once told me you're already home.
Age 3, my mom and dad got divorced. Age 4, my mom remarried to a guy named Steve, a UPS truck driver. He used to write Princess Gracie on all my lunch bags. Age 6, I was raped by my friend's older brother when I went to spend the night at her house. When my mom picked me up the next morning, she asked me if I had a good time, and I said yes. But I didn't have any more sleepovers for a while. Age 8, I was in an opera where I played a boy. There was a guy there with one arm, and he used to tell all the kids riddles. Age 9, I was crowned Little Miss Middletown, and I thought I was going to be blinded by the stage lights. Age 10, I was in A Christmas Carol at Actors Theater. The best part was during intermission, before I sang Silent Night, there was this girl that worked there named Mindy, and she would take me backstage, and we would pretend that the stage was a new place every day. And she would always say, "Where are we going today, Gracie?" I wanted to be just like her when I grew up. I think I still do. Age 11, I moved to Hollywood with my mom. We slept on air mattresses until I booked my first job, modeling for Limited 2, where I bought bunk beds. There, I met Dr. Phil. I was on his show, which I thought was just an acting competition. Turns out it was a 5-episode special to be aired during Sweep Sweep called Make My Kid a Star. Imagine our surprise when that aired. Age 12. I'm still in California, but now I'm with my dad. My mom is in the process of divorcing my first stepdad, Steve, the one who called me Princess Gracie. My dad remarries to a woman named Nicole. She's 17 years younger, so everyone talks shit about their relationship. But I think they're actually the only people I've ever personally met who are in love. Like actually in love, head over heels, would do anything for one another's happiness, kind of mushy-gushy, want to throw up love. My mom, who's divorced my second stepdad, has met a new man and has moved to Hawaii. He's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force and has 2 sons and a daughter. They plan on moving to Arizona. Age 13. I moved to Arizona with my mom and her new family. I read The Fountainhead, which is when I really start to hate everyone. I go through this whole, what is wrong with the world? Why can't we all be like Howard Rourke? And who really is John Galt? I turn into some angst-ridden teenager and start doing the things that angst-ridden teens do and start drinking and all of that stuff. I fall in love. James Ayep. He still might be the only boy I can say I really loved. Even to this day, the sound of his name runs through me like some sort of electrical current. So I have this whole outlook on life because of Ayn Rand mostly, and I just become this giant void. And I realize that the world we live in is more than likely purposeless, and that we might have no purpose, and that was not enough for me. Life was not enough for me. Which is how I found myself in a behavioral health clinic. My therapist asked me why I wanted to kill myself, and I said I didn't particularly want to kill myself, I just didn't really feel like living anymore. And then she said I had to sign a no self-harm contract, which basically says you're not allowed to cut yourself or kill yourself, which made absolutely no sense to me, seeing as how it wouldn't matter if I were dead.
which is how I got into the crazy house. That was my qualification. Suicidal tendencies, I still don't know what that means. So I'm in the crazy house for 6 days. I wear blue scrubs, they take my vitals and temperature every morning, and then all the fucked up kids would sit around in a circle and we would rate our depression and anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10, which I hated even more. My depression wasn't a number, it was a, well, I haven't killed myself today, so there's that. With all the medical professionals there, none of them actually seemed to help me except my admitting nurse. And when he asked me the inevitable question, Grace, why do you want to kill yourself? I answered, I don't want to kill myself, I just can't handle existing anymore. And then he kind of took that in and he looked at me. And then I finally felt like someone had heard what I had said. Didn't just write me off as some teenager with depression. And he told me that while my sadness goes to the extreme end of the spectrum, that by that same logic, my happiness must go to the opposite end of the spectrum, but to the same extreme. And he told me to hang on for the happy part, that it would be worth it. And he saved my life. I also met a guy there, Marlon. He was a gang member, part of the Crips. He had shot someone in a drive-by as part of a gang initiation. He said that he was a bad person and that he didn't deserve to live, and that was why he tried to hang himself. This was the same person that sat by me as I cried for hours through my existential angst and all of that teenager stuff, and he said that bad people didn't deserve to live, just as he comforted every single person in that clinic. So when I got out on the 6th day, I wrote him a letter, and at the bottom of the letter, I gave him my phone number. And 4 years later, I got a call. He said that he wanted to come see me. And I said, I live in Kentucky now. And all he said was that he was on his way, and then he thanked me for writing him a letter because that had saved his life. And then 18 hours later, I got another call. And he said that he wasn't going to let anyone stop him from coming to see me. But he said that he had to do what he had to do, and that he might have to go back on the inside. And he said that the only way he could go back was if I was going to be there for him on the outside. And he said he needed a yes or no answer. And I said yes. I haven't heard from him since. Age 14, I moved in with my dad and my stepmom in Kentucky. I start high school. I start smoking weed every day. And when my dad caught me, inevitably, in his confrontation, I said, well, why don't you just call the cops if what I'm doing is so wrong? And he said, is that what I really wanted? Was that what I think was the answer? And I said, what's the worst that can happen to me in there? Be raped? Because that ship had sailed. And every little girl knows that the worst punishment, the worst thing in the world, is seeing her daddy cry and being the reason why. And he asked me why I always tried to make people break me. And I looked at him, dry-eyed, and I said, so that I can prove to myself that they can't. In March, I decided to shave my head for St. Baldrick's, which might be the best decision I've ever made. I needed to learn what it was like not to be what society considered to be pretty. I needed to learn what it was like to be stared at, not because I was attractive, but because somebody thought I was a lesbian or that I had cancer. I needed to learn what it was like to be viewed as ugly. And I still think bald Grace was the best Grace. Age 15, I transferred to DuPont Manual and the Youth Performing Arts School as a theater major. Age 16, I got into drugs. I started drinking in school. I started pretty much doing anything that I could get my hands on. I dropped acid. Probably the most terrifying thing I have ever experienced, and it is to this day the thing that I am most afraid of. It takes your deepest, darkest, and most well-hidden secrets, and it displays them in hallucinations right in front of your eyes. And for 12 hours, I couldn't even escape myself. I was terrified. I didn't know who I was or what I was, and I thought that maybe I would just exist in the pronunciation of a vowel for the rest of eternity. I discovered Molly, our generation's ecstasy. It's supposed to be the purest form of MDMA, except it's always cut with things. Bath salts, plant feeder, meth, cocaine, speed, and when I couldn't get Molly, I started doing cocaine. If you could lay it out in a line, I would do it, anywhere, anytime, which is what got me in trouble at school. Apparently, it's against the rules to snort lines of Oxycontin in Spanish class. And I would sleep in the back seat of my car on weekends if there wasn't some random person's house that I could crash at. And I would wake up at 6 a.m., freezing and alone. You know, you never really know how completely painful loneliness can be. And I grew accustomed to that all-consuming ache, the kind that starts in one place and slowly spreads until you can't even think about anything else. And then I got a job. I needed more money for more drugs. Except the ironic thing was I started working so many hours that by the end of my junior year, I was working full-time. It probably saved my life. Age 17.
Sorry. Yeah, so sorry. Guys, I'm really, really sorry. Okay, well, ever since I've been remembering opening my mouth, I've been saying that word. But it's not for my constant clumsiness or social awkwardness that I'm apologizing. It's usually for things out of my control. Like, oh, well, it's raining outside. Oh, I'm sorry. Like I can pull a weather machine out of my ass and fix it because it's my fault that water was falling from the sky. God, I don't know why I do it. And I talked to my mom, and turns out she does the same thing. We are apology machines who spout out that word whenever anything remotely imperfect is happening. And I've tried having these deep philosophical theories about it, like maybe it's because I'm an only child. I've been surrounded by adults my entire life, and maybe I'm apologizing for still being a kid. I mean, I learned how to make a martini when I was 8 years old, thanks Grandma, and ever since I've been reading, I've been avoiding the kids menu. But then I think that it can't be it, because I actually really appreciate being an only child. And watching my parents slowly treat me more and more like peers the more that I grew up. So I think it's more like the reasoning behind how I grew up the way that I did. So I think that maybe it's not that. So maybe it's because I'm a math nerd. And I think that in math, everything has either a right answer or a wrong answer. So in life, I must always be getting the wrong answer. But then I remember that math sucks, and so I move on from that, and realize that maybe it is my social awkwardness. Maybe I'm apologizing for not existing correctly. I mean, have you ever sat back and tried to watch me interact with other human beings? Oh, I mean, there are people that say, oh my God, that's so awkward, because because they trip over their words once, or they wanted cereal, but there's no milk, or something stupid like that. I am the kind of awkward that when I'm with a group of people, which is a rare occasion, and we're like joking around, I take that joke one step too far, and the laughter sort of died down. So they give me that kind of like pity laugh, like, we should really move on. And I'm the awkward that when I try to think of a clever response, I fumble for words that actually weren't clever in the first place. And then an hour later, I think of the correct answer, and for the rest of the week mentally punch myself for not saying what I should have. I swear to God, you could make an Animal Planet show about it. Like, the rare species of a Chandler makes her way across the room, unsure of how to start a conversation. Her eyes are painfully wide. That usually means she's like scared or confused. It's her natural state. Oh, she's making her way to a conversation in the corner. And just as I suspected, they're suddenly blocking her out. All right. Oh no. Oh, don't tell me. Okay, well, she just interrupted the entire conversation to ask people what they were talking about. And they look at her like she's some lost puppy. I don't really think I can look at any more of this. I think about every time that I've made extended eye contact with strangers, or the opposite, and waved at you only to realize you're looking at the person behind me. And I have gotten the wrong order at a restaurant and forced myself to eat it because heaven forbid I correct anyone ever. And then what about those wonderful moments when I'm walking with a group of people in a hallway and the hall narrows or something, so I've kind of been popped out of the group and I'm just hovering over it, slightly in that group, but like not really anymore. Oh, I think about all those times. And I get secondhand embarrassment from it. And okay, if you don't know what secondhand embarrassment is, first of all, go you. And second, it's like when you're watching a movie and you're watching two characters about to have a really uncomfortable situation, and it's like you're watching it in slow motion, but it's only a damn movie, so you have to just watch it and let it happen. I'm the kid who takes a pillow and hides behind it because it will only give me flashbacks of the countless amount of times I have fallen flat on my face, both figuratively and literally. Okay, I'm getting way off topic. I'm really sorry. Okay, well, that word. So, I look back at all of that and I come to the conclusion that it is that. But it's been 18 years that I've just been taking the conclusion that it's social awkwardness, and I'm done. I'm still technically a teenager, and why should I apologize for the bumps along the road? Every time that I don't know whether to shake your hand or hug you, so we do that really extended dance that never ends well. I'm just getting one step closer to finding out who I am and what I'm even doing here. And every time that I try to make a cool comeback with you, but I just sort of fumble for words, and then someone looks at me like I had a tiny stroke, because I probably did. I'm just one step closer to being more comfortable with the rest of the words that come out of my mouth. And you know, who knows? Maybe I will spend the rest of my life fumbling for words still, which actually also ends in kind of like this mumble/whisper that never is a full sentence, and then I just leave the conversation. And that might happen for the rest of my life. But you know what? That's okay, because it'll only make those rare occasions when I'm actually comfortable so much more special, and I'll appreciate them a hell of a lot more. You go, Chan! Yeah, thanks! It's like you too! I'm really sorry. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go, and I'm so sorry.
Chandler, wrong exit.
Right, wrong exit.
It's okay not to be okay. I want to hate religion. To not be okay is okay. Okay? Okay, okay, okay. Hate to want. I want to hate. I want to hate Christianity. I really do, I do, okay. Can't hate. The mask. Can religion hate? The mask. Is it okay? Can I hate? I hate what people make religion out to be. I hate when people say the Bible says something it doesn't. Are you okay with other people not being okay? Are you okay with other people not being okay? Are you okay when no one is okay? Okay, okay. I won't pray for the hypocrisy. They say, the Bible says. The Bible says. My mask is not evil. He is forgiving. My evil face is not a mask. He isn't capable of hate. He isn't, and his son isn't. He is omnipotent. He is all-loving. He is crowd control. The smallest minority is the individual. How well do you know your neighbors? 7% running low, 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 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Dead. Money, lies, self-interest, and egotism. Reputation, false smile. Incapable of the air of real enjoyment. Harleys, Mercedes, pools, family reunions, reconnecting, no. Reigning supreme over loved ones with a buffet table full of shiny shit and expensive lies. All about presentation. Grilling out the perception of a happy family. All about presentation. Green, 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 go, green. Going green, live green, living green. Pro-social status, pro-material. Pro-green, anti-environmental, anti-global warming, pro-green. I need paper, make me more paper, I need paper, backstabbing for paper. Rain, grow trees, grow paper. Rain grows trees, grows paper. Rain grows trees, grows paper. Ego. Ego, 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 egoing green, egoing green, egoing green, green testicle, egoing green, green testicle, egoing green, 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 green. Capitalism, going green. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. The subconscious repetition, retreating from the green household, made of material occupied by phonies. I rode my bike there. I sold lemonade there, and I stepped in shit there. How well do I know my neighbors? Scratch, crunch, click, click, click. They don't know me. I'm the enemy. Me. Why am I scared? Youth's threshold is preconceived innocence, sanctuary, happiness. One light. Intersection, 4 pathways. Standing, wet, looking, reflecting. Lock! Slam! They're closing their doors. They are closing their doors. They're turning on their lights. They're looking out the window. How well do I know them? They scare me. Take me in your house. Take me in your house. Kill, torture, bury, gone. No, don't take me, Ariel Castro. Leave me and Amanda and Gina and Michelle alone. How well do I know my neighbors? The smallest minority is the individual. My mask is not evil. My evil face is not a mask. I want to wear my mask all the time.
Everyone has something special. Some people are good at sports, other people are great at cooking. Me, I can scream my face off. I've been belting my way through life, both on and off the stage, for as long as I can remember. Being a young girl in musical theater, you basically have the belt drilled into you. You stand there, and you scream it's a hard knock life as if your life depended on it. I guess my first true belt experience was my first musical, Peter Pan. I won't grow up. I don't want to go to school just to learn to be a parent and recite a silly rule. If growing up means it would be beneath my dignity to climb a tree, I'll never grow up, never grow up, never grow up. Not me. I have been through countless and countless voice teachers who have tried to get me to stand there and sing these sweet soprano songs, and the whole time I'm just thinking, please just let me belt, please just let me belt, please just let me belt. I'm loud, I know it, I'm sure all of you know it, it's not a secret. It's not an easy thing to get me to stand there singing Goodnight My Someone without me wanting to belt out the final goodnight, even though that's not even possible. But there was one teacher who knew the whole time that I had in me to belt it out. And as a member of the Fulsome Follies, I graced the river stage, and for the first time ever proved to everyone that I was just as loud on stage as I was off stage. Put down the knitting, the book, and the broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Only a cabaret, old chum, and I'm a cabaret. I was fortunate enough to have an in-house trainer, a personal director, a muse, as she would call it. I was the product of one Embry Thielmeyer. She used to take credit for anything and everything I would do because she helped me figure out what I was going to sing and pick out what I was going to wear to my auditions. I think part of her still might feel that way, but that's whatever. She's probably right. She has helped me find a lot of material over the years, and has helped me pick out a lot of music. And yes, she was the one who found me the infamous Ashes monologue. Come on, guys. You know the one. I decided a line from Shakespeare. Oh no! She has been a huge source for me. I probably wouldn't have got cast in Millie at YPAS if my sister hadn't made me rehearse my audition in her bedroom every night, singing that song over and over and over and over. And I want a breakfast, lunch, dinner there. If I'm a big box office winner there, I'll be the most well-known Berliner there ever was. I want to go to Hollywood. So I want to go. I have to go, I'm going to go to Don't think I forgot how to use my gift at home, because that's where I learned it. I've been blessed with a family of people who are equally as loud as I am. Well, everyone except for Lisa, because it's a Thielmeyer gene. But, for instance, when my brothers are fighting, choking each other, hitting each other with various objects, I can manage to scream, "Shut up!" loud enough so that you can hear me all the way from my bedroom with the door closed to the basement stairwell. Back to the real point here, the belt. Well, you know, in musical theater, the belty girl is not usually your girl next door classic beauty. She's usually the big, brassy, tell it like it is kind of gal. So me, my belt, and I Ellie Chancellor's favorite musical. Can anyone take a guess here? Anyone? Ding, ding, ding! We have some winners! Red wants Kendra to be his girlfriend. But Brett is the boy that I want to be with. I only want what's best for my best friend. So do I wait at the fate till she makes a mistake, or do I take the reward that I really want to take? If I pray to God, maybe He'd provide a little OPP opportunity. OPP opportunity. OPP opportunity. OPP opportunity. From biatch to slut I went. Nailing the classiest roles at YPAS. Tops, fishnet tights, and even an ode to flash dance. There I was, playing all those wholesome roles that my grandmother loved watching with you. The wedding singer. I gotta put water down on myself while belting out. Saturday night in the city. One William P. Bradford II saw the other side of what my belt could do. Not only could I be a mean, skanky girl, but I could also be a bratty little girl. And although the rehearsal process for Your Good Man Charlie Brown didn't go quite as I would have anticipated, I still stood there and belted out my new philosophy with the support that only one grounded foot can give me. And then, a light at the end of the tunnel. I was hoping one day I would be able to do more with my belt than just stand on stage and sing a few character songs and get a few laughs. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end my senior year here at YPAS than getting to play Jill March in Little Women. I proved to myself that I am capable of more than I ever thought I could do. Everything I promised them is here. All of us the way we used to be. We will always have each other. They will always be the fire in my heart. Here I go. tales of the past. Life was so fast. Before forever near at last. Unexpected as astonishing. And so here I am, belting my way through life. Who knows where I'll end up, or even if I'll end up somewhere. But best believe I will be getting there with 2 feet firmly planted on the ground and my soft palate lifted.